Oh, a little hungover this morning. Wow, what a show at Prop Teams last night. What a show. Now we're back for the full card prediction show in Vancouver. And I woke up like this. I woke up with this attitude, this energy today, looking for the victory in my home country of Canada. The locks are not completely figured out, but we're going to figure them out right here, right now on the show. So like the video before you even go. Subscribe, stay forecasted. You missed the Prop Fiend show last night. There's a $50 giveaway on this show. Put hashtag F3 in the comment section on the Prop Fiend show last night. You might get that $50. Let's get high as a kite in Vancouver and get this victory. We're going to start it off with the first fight of the night. So let me flip all the way to that slide. We're starting it off with a women's fight here. Making her debut, Melissa Croden versus Tainara Lisboa from Brazil off a loss. I feel like the UFC is setting up the Canadian first fight for the dub. You know, she has the forward pressure. She has 100% finish rate, 5 knockouts, 1 submission, has never been the distance in one. She has 2 decision losses on there, but I feel like she has fought the better competition, and the competition that she has fought has more experience in MMA. At this price, I think Melissa Croden is a lock of the week. Normally, I don't like taking women's MMA picks now as locks of the week. Last women's fighter that I took as a lock hit, though, and I'm taking maybe 2 this week. So Croden is the first lock of the week, and it's a women's MMA fight. Nonetheless, the Canadian in Canada first fight gets it done for Fight Fiends and forecasters with that forward pressure. She's going to grind her way to a win in the debut here. I mean, Lisboa has fought some brutal competition on the regional scene, got finished in her last fight in round 2. And like I said on the Prop Fiend show there, Croden's last finish win was in round 2. I might look at the 9-1 bet for Croden in round 2. Maybe she gets a submission. You look at Lisboa, she's been submitted more than once, and she has never been knocked out. So maybe Croden gets a finish win on the ground with a submission. She only has 1 or 2 of them. Like I said, 5 knockout wins for Croden. I feel like she's getting it done here with the ground and pound. I took the knockout on the Prop Fiend show as my prelim prop. Like I said, lock of the week for me. Next fight, we got Azamat, Bekoev, and Yousri Belgaroui. Belgaroui, 5-inch reach advantage. Huge reach advantage, 5-inch height advantage here. And at range, Belgaroui might be good. He trains with Alex Poton Pieta, but he's another guy that has fought some pretty low-level competition. Managed to get the win second time around on Dana White's Contender Series. Good for him, but now this is not a great matchup for him. Bekoev hits hard. His last 2 wins, knockout round 1. He has the power, and yeah, he's the smaller fighter, but he's more compact, more muscle, and he's going to hit a lot harder. The bigger they are, the easier they fall. I might look at Bekoev by knockout, possible decision. I believe in him to be the better fighter in this matchup on the prelims. I don't hear or smell any underdogs yet. Potential lock of the week, but I don't want to get too risky. I feel like Bekoev should be fine, though, as a lock of the week. Maybe we take him as a lock. The next fight we don't take as a lock. We just took 2 locks of the week, although 3-1 favorite Stephanie Luciano should get it done here versus Ravena Oliveira, who has fought the lower level competition once again, in my opinion, in this matchup. A very close matchup. The reach advantage, very close. And I don't think either fighter is going to really look dominant. It's going to be a close fight. I think Luciano wins a close decision, women's MMA. This might be one we go out to the shed, have a hoot, pour a drink, miss this fight of any fights in Vancouver. Luciano likely not live for the finish. I think she gets it done here by a decision, rightful favorite. That's about it. I'm talking on that one. The next one, y'all want to hear the prediction on Drew Dober versus Kyle Prepolec. Now, what's interesting to me is Prepolec was thrown to the Wolves versus Benoit Saint-Denis, rightfully took the loss as a big underdog there, but he's not necessarily getting thrown to the Wolves versus Drew Dober. True, Dober has a record versus a certain skin color fighter where he has more success. Now he gets Kyle Prepolec in Canada, and the line is moving down. Kyle Prepolec is my pick, and I think he could be live for a decision win, maybe a submission win in this fight. I'm playing the odds. I think the odds are way too wide. Dober should not be this big of a favorite. He's been knocked out in his last 2 fights. His durability seems to be fading. At 36, he's had more punishment, and he has less motivation to fight for a contract. His contract should be safe. He'll have a couple more fights, even if he takes a loss, where Prepolec needs to prove something here in his home country. The promised land, Canada. This is not an underdog of the week. Actually, yeah, he is official dog of the week, I would say, because my other underdog pick this week is a lock of the week. So stay forecasted, Fight Fiends, and manage the bankroll wisely. Nothing is a goddamn guarantee. But I hope the left-handed God is a guarantee. This is another guy I want to take as a lock. Danny Barlow, 9-1, is a promising fighter, although he's coming off that round 1 knockout loss to Sam Patterson. In that fight, I think he might have struggled with the reach advantage of Patterson and the height differential. Now, in this fight, he has a reach advantage of his own, and I think he has the power in this fight. And Djorden Santos fought on Dana White Contender Series after fighting some pretty low-level competition. Seems to be the trend in my predictions. I'm fading the fighters that have fought the lower-level competition. Now, Djorden Santos, he's tough and durable, but he beat Will Curry on Dana White's Contender Series. Good job, buddy. I think Danny Barlow is definitely the more promising fighter. He has more devastating power, and this is another fighter like Bekoev. We could play them by knockout, all right? So easy pick for me as a 3-1 favorite with Bekoev. Possible lock of the week with Melissa Croden. Let's keep listening in, see if we can find another lock of the week opportunity. This one here is certainly one. Hung Sun Park, another guy kind of thrown to the wolves in his last matchup versus Tatsuro Terra. Yeah, he got submitted round 2, but that was a high-level fighter that he had to fight that night. Now he gets Bruno Silva, who has been finished, who's had a longer career and is 7 years older in this fight. 6 years older in this fight? He's 5'4", and he's basically going to be winging, looping shots at Hung Sun Park. And I think Hung Sun Park's ducking under, getting that takedown, and likely going for the submission win in this fight. Hung Sun Park as a favorite. Let me know if you think it's safe. I certainly do. You know, this has to be a fight for him to get back into the win column. You look at Bruno Silva, he's starting to slide downhill, and he's going uphill. Look at his age. All right, give me the young prospect from South Korea here. Hung Sun Park. Promising lock of the week. Maybe another one here. How many locks are we taking in Canada? Holy jeepers. Jeepers jumpins. Are we taking 20 locks? Might make 20,000 if we take Charles Jourdain over Davey Grant. Davey Grant is what? Almost 40 years old, off a couple wins now. He's due for the L. He's due for the L. But he's not a fighter that's getting older and starting to fade, in my opinion. This is still dangerous Davey Grant. And Charles Jourdain can be hittable. And I kind of have a concern about his durability, but I think he should be fine and lock up a submission in this fight. And I do believe with his brother getting signed to the UFC, we could see Jourdain have a great performance in Vancouver. Like he said, he always kind of wants to one-up his brother. It's always a competition. And now that his brother's in the UFC, I don't really see him taking an L here off a big win to Victor Henry, who I believe is a better level of competition than Davey Grant. Davey Grant is dangerous, but Victor Henry just might be a step above where Davey Grant is right now in his career. So a possible step down in competition for Charles Jourdain in this matchup. I might take him as a lock of the week, and he's 10 years younger in this one, right? Canada should get their hand raised in a lot of these matchups, and they seem to be favored for Canada. So let's hope they get the win. In this one, I'm not going to lie, I'm staying away from Canada, but I'm not fading Canada with low confidence. I will pick the monster, Kyle Nelson. You know, credit to Prelim Tim on this one. He's taken the New York native Matt Frevola KO in this one, and it's certainly live. You know, Garcia just landed a good one round 1 versus Kyle Nelson, put him down pretty quick, and Frevola could rightfully do the same thing. Frevola is the favorite, and this is a banger fight. And I don't think Nelson is the guy that wants to stand and bang with Matt Frevola. I think Frevola does have the harder punches, and I think he has fought the better competition. Although he's off a knockout loss of his own, this is just a fight I'm looking to pass on completely. I think Kyle Nelson can grease out a decision, but I'm concerned he can get knocked out, right? So there's a couple different ways you can play this fight. I'm not confident in whatever way you say or I say, so let's not do much with this one. Let's keep running it up with another fight I'm looking to pass on, to be honest. So we got Cody Gibson here versus AoriQileng, and Qileng seems like a pretty decent underdog now that I'm sitting back, relaxed, and kind of looking at it, seeing the face-offs, and he kind of came in, looked ready to go, AoriQileng. He has a knockout not too long ago, kind of shocked people. It could happen again here. I mean, he has knockout power, and he's the younger fighter in this matchup. Now, Cody Gibson's the pick by a decision, but I don't know if he's going to bite down on the mouthpiece and go for the finish, where AoriQileng certainly will. Could be live for the knockout here. I think the grappling is just a little bit too much. Gibson's going to have success with the grappling, control time, get a couple takedowns, and get this W. But I'm not confident. Prelim Tim is, on the other hand. Check out the Prop Fiend show. It is official prop of the week for him. Now, we'll see what happens today in Vancouver. Be very safe with the parlays and whatever you're doing tonight. Manage the bankroll wisely. We're going to fly like a kite. Let's bring the bankroll even higher and higher this week. But certainly we have to manage the bankroll and not bet on every fight, right? Can't be confident on every single fight. But this one, this is underdog I'm locking in. You know, you do what you want here, but Manon Fiorot, 12-2, is stepping in versus Jasmine, Jasudavicius in Canada. And Jasmine's on a win streak. She just submitted Jessica Andrade. She has the grappling advantage in this fight, in my opinion, by far. You know, she is going to walk down Manon Fiorot, and the judges are going to score the forward pressure like they always do, and the volume will be there for Jasudavicius. Manon Fiorot did not look too famous in a fight with Rose Namajunas. It looked like a pretty close fight where Jasmine would have walked down Rose and maybe found a finish. Now, Jasmine is a fighter that's really due for one here. She's 36 years old, a year older than Manon Fiorot, so it's now or never for the Canadian. Plus money, I'm going to take it. Now, the numerology I'm seeing on this one, it's the 7th time we're going to Vancouver, the UFC here, and Manon Fiorot sits on 7 UFC wins. I'm thinking she sits on those 7 wins. Her last loss was at UFC 315, and the opponents of Jasmine can fall to 3-15 in this fight with a Jasmine win. I'm locking it up. Lock of the week, not only a dog of the week. I think it's an underdog lock. We're putting a lock on the lock, like I said on the Prop Fiend show. So get fired up for this one. Vancouver, we're going to be victorious, and you don't want to miss out. Hit the links in bio below if you want to collect those bets with Fight Fiend. Now, Marlon Vera is looking for a friggin' win in Canada versus Aiemann Zahabi. This is a very close fight. Bookies have it priced close. Looking to pass on this one. I think it goes 15. Maybe a long shot. You can take Zahabi by KO. I think he has a better fighter's IQ, but he's the older fighter in this matchup. Marlon Vera just fought for a championship with Sean O'Malley, so he has fought the better competition. He's ranked higher, and his ceiling could still be higher in the UFC, being 32 years old. Looking at Ariel Helwani, he's 37. How high is his ceiling off a couple wins? All right, so I'm not overly confident in Zahabi. I will take a 10-1 bet on him by KO, but I'm aware Marlon Vera has never been knocked out. He is hittable. He lacks volume, and it's not going to help him in Canada, especially with these judges up in Vancouver, BC. All right, let's be safe. End of the day, I'm probably going all Canadians this week. Little bias, I'm Canadian. So let's see what happens here. It's going to be a good one. No, I didn't fade Kyle Nelson. But in this one, I am officially picking against the Canadian, Mike Malott. In a matchup where the bookies have it now 50-50 down the line. You see Kevin Holland off a terrible fight to Daniel Rodriguez. Unanimous decision loss. I don't understand how he's a coin flip fight versus Mike Malott in this spot. But then I take a deeper dive and I start to put the numbers together. 35th UFC event, Mike Malott can fall. His opponents can improve 3-5 in the knockout column. Plus 350 for Kevin Holland KO. That's my official prop of the week on the main card. I smell the upset. I see the upset. Zodiac forecasters see the upset. Now, you can do what you want. Kevin Holland is super hard to trust. I don't always trust in the Zodiac codes and stuff like that, but you got to look at the odds. It's 50-50. Kevin Holland's off a terrible fight. He should be a bigger underdog. Now, you can use any strategy you want, but in a fight where Mike Malott got knocked out to Neil Magny, I suspect in a close, tough fight, if it goes late, he might struggle with Kevin Holland. Holland has power late in fights. He can finish fights late. He almost beat Jack Della Maddalena, for Christ's sake. It was a split decision, right? He had a great fight with Gilbert Burns as well. And I think Kevin is going to surprise a lot of people. 50-50. A lot of money on Mike Malott at this price, but we'll see what happens in Vancouver. I'm not taking Mike Malott. I'm aware of what could happen here. And Kevin Holland has a massive, massive reach advantage in this spot. Massive. Main event of the evening. Bring out the Riz. We got RDR back in action. 21-2 versus Brendan Allen. Canada Day is in 258 days. Brendan Allen falls to 25-8. See you later. RDR gets that dub in Vancouver. I feel like he's the fighter ready to go. He had 2 belts in another organization. Just beat Robert Whittaker, and now this is definitely a step down in competition. You can't tell me Brendan Allen is a step up in competition from Robert Whittaker. I think Whittaker gave RDR one hell of a fight, came up short in that split decision. Certainly, in my opinion, this is a step down for RDR. RDR has to finish an upside in this fight. Out of these 2 fighters, he knocked out Bo Nickel. He could knock out Brendan Allen. This is another fighter on the 35th UFC event where his opponents can improve to 3-5. All right, I'm taking RDR possibly by a knockout, if not a decision win. Dominant performance for the Riz factor. Fight Fiends, forecasters. We might have to lock in RDR, knowing what the consequences may be and could be. We'll look past it. I think RDR gets the dub here in Vancouver. He was set up the whole time for the W. He was supposed to fight Anthony Hernandez, who had a back out. Now, Brendan Allen is on the butcher block in the pig year, his enemy year, looking for the loss here. Now, RDR, in the future, can he beat Khamzat Chimaev? Let me know. Let me know. I don't think so. Not a chance. Khamzat for L. Team boys. Thanks, everybody, for staying forecasted. And the first slide, we missed it. We're going to go right back to it. We got to give out that $100 this week. You got to put your favorite parlay in the comment section below on this video, and I'll give out $100. Looking back at last week, Brendan Ray took over. Massive parlay hit. It's pretty simple. You just put hashtag F3 in the comment section on this video. Put your favorite parlay plus 100 odds or above. You got your chance to win $100. We're in Vancouver. I have faith in you to get the victory, so please comment your favorite parlay below. We got a couple hours to go. We'll see y'all in Discord, absolutely free. And like I said earlier on the show, if you want the bets, hit the link in bio below. Let's go. Let's go.